Well, during the CONCACAF Nations League Quarterfinals, Honduras pulled off a stunning 2-0 win over the Mexico national team in the first of a two-game series that ended up being one of the biggest upsets during the quarterfinals matches. However, on a night that should have been a big celebration for the Honduran national team, it was overshadowed by violence from the Honduran fans as Mexican head coach Javier Aguirre was struck in the head with a beer by Honduran fans throwing objects on the field towards the Mexico national team players. The situation quickly got ugly. Javier Aguirre was struck in the head and it resulted in a bad cut and him walking off the field bloody. But before they could even walk off the field and into the tunnel to the dressing rooms, the Mexican players had to wait for security and police to clear people in the stands away from where the locker room tunnel was to stop them from trying to hit players with objects. This resulted in players and the coaching staff for both teams staying in the center of the field for 10 minutes after the final whistle. What makes it worse was it wasn't just at the end of the game, as Honduran fans also threw objects and drinks during the game as well, and it was noticeable during the broadcast in the first half. And sad to say, it also completely overshadowed the good performance of the Honduran team in that game. And in terms of team results and performance, the violence in the stands was the worst thing to happen for the Honduras national team, as it rallied the Mexican team around their head coach and motivated them to completely destroy them in the second leg. Now, this was a completely deplorable and unacceptable act by Honduran fans. And rightfully so, they will be punished along with the Honduran Football Federation, as Honduras will have to play their next competitive CONCACAF game without fans in the stadium. The Honduran FA was also fined for failing to implement proper stadium security. But frankly, I don't think the punishments were tough enough. I really do hope they somehow find the perpetrator who hit Aguirre with that beer. And I think that Honduras should have lost hosting rights for the rest of their second round World Cup qualifiers and some of the first of their third round games, at least 3 games without fans in the stadiums. And I am not just talking about this moment. I don't think Mexican fans walk away free either in this case. During the celebrations of Jorge Sanchez's goal during the second game in Toluca, fans began to throw their beers and drinks into the air in celebration, which is a bit of a controversial yet common thing that occurs when the home team scores in Mexico. However, during the joy and celebrations among fans, you had some dumbasses and morons try to do the same thing to the Honduran head coach, Reinaldo Rueda. Well, I get there is emotions and anger over what Honduran fans did to their coach. It does not give the opposing side's fans the right to do the same. And Javier Aguirre noticed this. During the celebrations of Sanchez's goal, fans began to throw drinks and objects at the Honduran bench, at Reinaldo Rueda, and both Aguirre and Memo Ochoa noticed it and instantly turned to fans telling them to stop. They had their hands up telling the Mexican fans, quit it, stop that shit. You don't do that during a national team game. And I respect them both for stepping in to do that, and especially Aguirre, who kind of downplayed his head injury and the incident during interviews after the first game. And I agree, Mexican fans should not become what they condemned and opposed in Honduras. Unfortunately, Aguirre's injury after being hit in the head with a full beer can overshadowed this quarterfinal matchup. And I do think the CONCACAF was too soft in their punishments toward the Honduran Federation and missed an opportunity to set a precedent to prevent such an incident from happening again. However, we shouldn't have to depend on CONCACAF releasing a statement or issuing some sort of penalty as this all starts and comes down to us, the fans. So my message to fans, not just fans of Mexican or Honduran football, but all football fans and sports fans, is to not be afraid to come together and condemn this. The next Nations League football games are in March for the semifinals and, of course, the grand final. If you see a fan act in such a way and throw things on the field or at other fans, don't be afraid to call it out. Notify security and authorities in the stadium and get these idiots banned from stadiums. There is a clear difference between being a diehard fan of your team and being a violent moron. The beer throwing towards players and coaches does not show people as sports fans, but what can show people as great sports fans is unifying to condemn this. That is my message in regards to this. Leave a like on this video if you support this message. That is all for me in this one. I know it isn't a positive video, but as a sports channel, I feel that I would be failing on my part to address and condemn this myself, and that is why I made this video. I hope for the best going forward, and hopefully with other truly good fans, we can get these violent fans banned from sporting events and put an end to this. Andres de AA Sports, like and subscribe to support this passion project, and I will see you all in the next video hopefully without having to talk about a violent incident in sports. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you spread this message.